Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bon Voyage Besties, the podcast where travel, lifestyle, and a little bit of real talk all come together. I'm Rosa, here with my wonderful co host Rachel, and today we have a very, very special guest joining us all the way from the Dominican Republic. We're thrilled to welcome Guillel Mercado, also known as Dr. Market, a powerhouse female physician with over a decade of experience in weight loss and nutrition. She's also an entrepreneur, a wife, a mom to a boy and pup, and a total CrossFit enthusiast who lives and breathes the balanced, healthy lifestyle that she advocates. So today's conversation is one that we really need to talk about, especially for me: how to stay healthy and active while traveling. And I'm going to be honest, that is something I personally struggle with in my daily life, and it's even tougher when I'm on the road. That's why we're super excited to dig into this topic with Dr. Market. So welcome to the show.
Welcome. So excited to have you here. Similar to Rosa, I have kind of, I don't want to say a toxic relationship with food and nutrition, but it's like a whole thing. And especially on the road, it's really, really tough because I always tell myself, oh, this doesn't count. That doesn't count. This doesn't count. And when you're traveling multiple times a year, it certainly does. Like I had one year where I had a bunch of press trips and it definitely impacted my diet quite a bit because it was like not a once a year thing. It was more like a 6 times a year thing and it adds up. So super excited to have you here as well.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here, so happy, and I hope we can learn and you can learn and have fun too.
Yeah, definitely. I know for myself, I struggle. And I'll be honest, it's just because I'm lazy, because I really don't have an excuse. Like, I do have the time. Sometimes I wake up early and I say, oh, maybe I should use this extra time to work out. And I don't. I just sit on my couch scrolling through Instagram.
So it's a process, and sometimes you have to push yourself. I don't think, no, I do know that like gym freaks, they're not like born. We're made. Okay? So, and you don't have to be a gym freak. You just have to get active, like be more active and enjoy the result because of, like, I like to say, side effects of being active and watching the food that you're eating, that make sure that it nourishes you. It will pay off and it will have the side effect of making you feel lighter, healthier. And I really push for that.
I do like the side effects of working out. Like, my mom jokes around. She'll be like, are you going on a beach vacation? And I'm like, why do you ask? She's like, because you're eating salads and doing crunches. And I'm like, well, yes, I have to be in a bathing suit in 2 months, Mom. So yeah, I am trying to be more active.
That's great. Your heart will thank you for that.
So I'm curious, what made you want to get into nutrition?
Well, as you do know, I'm the daughter of a female physician. My mom is a OBGYN, and I work with her. I don't know. I can remember I was like watching her work and helping her in anything that I could. So that made me very close to helping people in our little town from Jarabacoa, and that was actually very rewarding. So after I graduated med school, I had the opportunity to start working in weight loss franchise and speaking with all those people, especially women, that were struggling and they were not feeling their best self. And I saw the opportunity here to learn more and get prepared to help those kind of people. And actually, it helped me a lot. So I have a better, as Rachel was saying, a better relationship with food now because I do enjoy, and I swim a lot actually. We sweet tooth. We have a sweet tooth in our family. But actually, but also I can equilibrate that. I can balance that with being active and drinking lots of water and enjoying the ice cream and also the fruit, the veggies, and the lean protein, for example. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, that's really, really true. And just having that balance is so nice. I know for me, like I enjoy an ice cream too. I'm a total sucker for mint chocolate chip ice cream myself. It's my favorite flavor. But yeah, with me, it's always hard to get motivated to work out and eat right. But I will say I've never regretted it when I finally like get myself like off the sofa. And my apartment building, there's a free gym and it's down the hall. So there's really no excuse. I make excuses, but there's no excuse. But I've never regretted it. And the phys ed teachers that I work with, they have the same mindset where it's like the focus on that well-being and that like health and how strong you feel as opposed to counting calories, weighing yourself every day. Because I know when I was younger, I had kind of like a bad relationship with food and I slid into some toxic habits like that are still hard to break where you're weighing yourself every day and beating yourself up. So I just like love that mindset of focusing on making you feel good and happy and strong.
Yes, I am, first of said, I'm an advocate for feeling strong and feeling your best self. I think that's the goal because you can look very lean and maybe you're not as healthy as you think. And maybe you can be overweight and actually feel strong because it's not only the fat, the body fat, but it's also the muscle. But yes, of course, we have to try to keep a balanced diet so we don't go from one extreme to the other.
I agree. And I think, like you said, too, it's all about lifestyle. So, like I admitted at the beginning of the show, I'm very bad when it comes to working out and staying active. But my daughter, Samantha, like she goes to the gym 5 times a week. She usually runs 6 days a week. She's very active and she's really good with maintaining that routine. So, I'm always in awe of her, even when we're traveling. Like, I normally try to find accommodations that they have a fitness center or some type of workout space, or if there's not, sometimes she'll work out in the room or she'll go running. So she tries to maintain that active lifestyle. But for her, that's something that's just like that's her routine, right? So like every day she doesn't even think about it. Yeah, she'll wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and Michael and I are like laying in bed, like, yeah, no. Like, bye, Sam. Be back by 8 o'clock so we can go to breakfast. So I really admire that she has that consistency and that will to continue that lifestyle, especially when traveling. Because when I travel, like for myself at least, like I kind of want to break out of the routine and kind of relax a little bit more. But like you said, once it becomes part of your lifestyle, then you don't even think about it. It's like second nature to you, right? So,
Yeah.
what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes when people are traveling as far as trying to maintain like a healthy lifestyle when it comes to diet and eating?
Well, I think like we all want to relax, right? When we're vacationing and stuff. But we drink a lot of alcohol.
We
And
drank a
that
lot of alcohol this weekend, and it was only we were away for 2 days.
I've been so good about that.
I think that's maybe one of the biggest mistakes that we can like get too relaxed and drink like start drinking alcohol like early in the morning because it's somewhere in the world is
It's
5 o'clock
somewhere.
already. Exactly. And that goes along with less water intake. So when you combine those two, it gets a lot worse. And alcohol gives you it can get you hungrier and you're craving like sweets or maybe like really fatty greasy food. So I think like maybe decrease alcohol or not start that early on the day and drink lots of water. I think that will be yeah. And you know, another mistake is that maybe we want to try like everything at once, like the spicy food, the greasy, the hot cheesy, and everything at once, and that can be a bomb for our stomach, and that could ruin a trip or vacation or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
absolutely. I know for me with the alcohol, sometimes what happens is if I'm traveling to a country like Spain or Italy, the alcohol will be cheaper than the bottled water that they sell at the restaurant. So my friends and I would end up happening, we're like, oh, why not just order the wine? But there have been instances where I've gotten wildly dehydrated. And then combining that with all the steps, like I think every day in Spain, I clocked over 20,000 steps each day. So you have the more vigorous exercise, the combination of alcohol alcohol. And like you say, trying all the different foods. Like there's been times where my stomach was just absolutely not having it. And I remember one time with my trip to England 2 years ago, I was just having way too much fun with like the good beer over there, the good food, all the walking. The one day I did, I think like 38,000 steps in London. And then flying home, my body just gave up and I was throwing up in the galley in the back and they had to tell the pilot and that was embarrassing. So it pays to
Yeah.
remember that balance even if you're traveling.
Yeah, that's true. We have to be aware of that you can enjoy your trips, but like drink water, please.
Yeah, in moderation. It's like stay hydrated. That's usually my rule of thumb. I'm not a big drinker. So normally my rule of thumb is for every drink, I'll try to have like 2 glasses of water to kind of balance it out. Because if not, it can get bad real quick.
I always tell my patients, like, start with water. Because if you get to somewhere and you sit and you're thirsty, you're going to drink that beer, that glass of whatever you're ordering really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Start with water.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember when I went to Greece this summer, I was looking up travel tips, and that was one of the main ones that came up, that in the morning and especially in the afternoon where it's like the peak heat of the sun, to avoid alcohol and save it for the evening because it could actually be dangerous with like the intense heat and heat stroke, because Greece, it's not really a humid climate, so you're not sweating and you don't realize quite how much water you're losing. So I specifically remember that as a tip. Like if you're going to drink, wait till nighttime. Do not do it in the morning or the afternoon.
Very important.
And like you said, too, moderation. I mean, that's one of the great things about traveling, at least for me, going to a new destination, is trying the local cuisine. But like you said, there's been times that I try a little bit too much of everything. And then I kind of feel like heavy, or like my stomach just doesn't sit well. And then I'm just like, towards the end of the trip, I'm like ready to kind of go home and like detox completely.
Yeah.
Which is never fun. And getting food poisoning in general is not fun, especially abroad. So try to avoid that, kids.
No.
You know, remember me something very important. I think it's like a must that anybody that is traveling have a insurance, health insurance. That's very important, because even though you're healthy, and like ideally, if you can like get your checkup, your physical exams and everything like near to your trip, so you can verify that you're good to go. Anyway, you can get sick with, I don't know, like maybe a very bad cold on airports or something. That happens to me.
Yeah, definitely. The health insurance component is so good. Like I have really good health insurance in New Jersey, but it does not follow me overseas. And if I, travel with health insurance, like if I had to go to the hospital, it would be so super expensive. And things can happen. Like I think I'm generally pretty healthy, but like this past time in France, I got a really gnarly cold halfway through my trip and it took a while to clear up. So things can happen. Even just like an accident, like going down the stairs when I was in Barcelona and it was early morning. I had just had coffee, nothing else. I tripped on the stairs and I was glad I didn't like twist my ankle or anything. Like these things, can happen. So the health insurance, we always say how important the travel insurance component is.
Very, very true. One of my biggest things too is like especially like when I'm staying like at a hotel or like even at all inclusive, because everything it's like quote unquote like included, or you're getting like free breakfast. I kind of overdo it. And sometimes I like fill up my plate with like a little bit of everything. And then I sit down and I'm just like, what did I do? Because like my biggest problem is that I'm constantly hungry, but I get full very, very quickly. So I'm always snacking, and they're not always the best like snacks, to be honest with you. So that's like my biggest thing. And like usually like we'll go out to breakfast, and like let's say if I'm traveling with Michael and Samantha, they'll like have a nice meal. I'll get full after a couple of bites, and then an hour later I'm like, all right guys, like what time is lunch, because I'm starving. And so I usually make bad decisions. So what would you say, especially when it comes to like let's say like hotel breakfast, like what's a good strategy to kind of make sure that you're getting proper nutrients to set off your date on the right path?
Well, for me, trust search. Then, well, no. I try to go for the protein first. A good source of protein could be animal protein like egg, ham, cheese. It's maybe if you're vegetarian, you have cheese. If you can combine that with complex carbs like veggies, maybe an omelette, or you can have the best of those. I get good protein and the complex carbs from the veggies and the fiber and all the nutrients, of course. And you can then add a little bit of like simple carb like toast or half of a toast or a small croissant and probably a small portion of fruit. And for you, Rosa, you can just grab a banana and take it for later.
I usually go for the chocolate croissant and like roll it up in my nap. I go for the worst things. I'm like, Sam, go look at the pastries and pick me up something nice.
Yeah, but the
Those
fruit,
are so good.
I really go for the fruit because, especially while traveling, we forget about fruit. And we can get like, bloated. You can get constipated also because of the dehydration and not having like your regular schedule. Remember the fruit, people. The fruit.
Yeah, it's so important and true, especially on those long travel days. Like, not to be gross or anything, but when I do those long flights to Europe, sometimes with going to the bathroom, it's like a challenge. And I'm like, what happened?
You need some fiber.
Yeah. And speaking of the long travel days, I know when I got sick on that flight back to London, I think what triggered it was I had a very heavy breakfast in the airport lounge. It was very rich food and I just got really bad indigestion. But like with the long plane rides, for example, or maybe like those long road trip days when you're stopping at gas stations, what advice would you give travelers when they're not like quite at their destination yet, but they're like, oh my God, I have like 10 hours in front of me, 11 hours in front of me. Like, how do you stay in tip-top shape? Because I feel like I always get screwed up on the plane ride somehow.
That's a challenge maybe in an airport, like getting like good food, like nutrition, good nutrition. It's a challenge. But I try to go to the less bad choices, probably, and go for the protein and lean protein if possible, and the veggies. For me, that's a must. And for example, you can have a wrap and like just avoid ordering something that comes with fries and sauce. Yeah, stay away from that.
So good though. I always feel like if I throw a salad with my meal, like I'm doing something good.
Yes, you are.
You are.
Like little small habits,
Yeah, I can be kind of like, I don't want to say crazy with that, but I am that friend at restaurants that's always like, let's order a salad or let's get some greens. Because I feel like if I don't have something green at least once a day, something really bad is going to happen.
I agree.
Yay! Yeah, I'm that person who's like, let's order something green. And every time my friends would sit down like for a meal when we're traveling together, they're like, Rachel, do you want to throw in a salad? I'm like, yes.
They
Something
already
green,
know.
something red.
Yes.
Like also, so like I mentioned before, I know as far as staying like active back home, like I usually drive everywhere. I don't walk as much. So one of the things that I personally like to do whenever I am traveling somewhere is try to be a little bit more active. Either maybe we're going hiking or if we're going sightseeing, getting my steps in. But are there other ways that someone can stay active while traveling? Let's say for somebody like me who doesn't like going to the gym.
Well, I think
These tips are all for me, by the way.
I think the key is just like walk and maybe don't take a bus tour. Maybe do a walking tour. That will get you active. You will be more connected to the city, maybe that you're getting to know, and you're not gonna notice that you walk those. Well, like Rachel was saying, a lot of miles in a day, and she didn't even notice. Try to book walking tours, as you said, Rosa. Include activities that you can be active, like ride a bike to get to know a small town or something, or getting a boat that you have to row, for example. That's hardcore, but yeah, that would
I do.
Yeah.
that would be very great.
Yeah, I was going to mention kayaking because the other thing with the active activities, you never know if you're going to really love something. So I remember years ago, my first press trip to Madison, Wisconsin, they included a kayaking tour of one of the lakes. And I was like, I've never kayaked. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'll hurt a nail. I don't want to. But I decided to give it a try. And I absolutely loved it, just being out on the water. It was really enjoyable. I got a good workout in and it was very peaceful. So I've always seemed to do kayak tours now on my press trip. I did one in the Finger Lakes. I did one out in Michigan. I did 2 kayak trips up in Canada. And it's just like a lot of fun. So that was something that I wouldn't expect to love. And I did. So I always suggest to people like do something a little adventurous because you never know if you're going to find something that you'll enjoy. And it could be something healthy like kayaking or riding a bike. I've done a lot of really fun cycling tours too, especially in Europe where the cities are a little more bike friendly.
In Europe, especially, you don't even need take so many cabs. You can walk and maybe take a bus if it's too far or something, or if you're too tired. But walking is right there.
Yeah, I love it. I love a good walking tour. And like you said, I don't even notice how many steps I'm doing in Europe or in Japan. Japan, I did so much walking. And I'll tell my family, I'll send them a screenshot and I'm like, compare it to when I'm at home. When I'm at home, I walk maybe like 4,000 steps. And then like I bring it up when I'm traveling. It's like 25,000 steps. And I'm like, really? I could do that? And I felt good and it didn't bother me.
And you were able to.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm always so proud of myself. I'm like, okay, I must not be that bad if I could do this.
Okay. You're an athlete.
I'm the same way. Usually at home, like I maybe average 5,000, 7,000 steps like on a good day. But when I'm traveling, we usually average about like 15 to 20K steps. So like you said, I always feel proud of myself because I was like, oh my gosh, like I actually did that. So I was like, go me. And like I said, going back to Samantha, like I remember when we went to Paris, we were going to do the Eiffel Tower. And I was like, listen, guys, instead of taking the elevator, we're just going to go up the steps. We're going to be active. We're going to take the steps.
And the line was so long that, no, I'm not going to do the line. I'm going to wait for an hour to get in an elevator. Come on. No, that's not for me.
But I'm not going to lie. Like, after, like, the first flight, I was like, oh my God, I'm so hot. I was like, why did I take the steps?
You were brave.
You can do it on your own pace. So
exactly. We weren't on a time crunch, but I remember telling Samantha, you know, she has like her routine certain days out of the week. She works out certain body parts. And that day was supposed to be like her leg day. I was like, Sam, we're going to go up, I forget how many, 500 steps. I was like, today is not leg day. So you're going to have to like switch it up. So what are some of your tips when it comes to someone that's a little bit more rigid with like their workout schedule as far as kind of being more flexible when they're on vacation and like knowing that it's okay to take a day off?
Yeah. For me, I don't travel that much that I have to be sure that I'm going to have a gym. So I always just concentrate on the walking, the tour walking. That's my thing. But if you need to like have that, maybe not every day, but you can make, as you said, like before you go out to the city, you can make like a 15-minute routine, some squats, some push-ups, some planks, and you're good to go. Just you're keeping your muscles active, flexibility, mobility, and you're gonna, the walking, gonna be fine. And the gym is gonna wait for you at home, so don't worry.
I love that.
I love that. I love that because it's good to be a little flexible too. It's good. And then like going back to the food because I'm a big foodie. I always book a food tour on my trips and I love the local cuisine, but I'm somebody who can certainly overdo it. Like there's definitely been times where I've gone to bed not feeling so great because I've eaten too much. What tips would you give for balance for someone like me who's a total foodie, really wants to experience the local cuisine, but also tips on like staying healthy and not like destroying your body too much?
Well, if you're traveling with friends, the key is to share. So you can grab a bite of everything and not overdo. And as you said, Rachel, something green on the table. I think that can help you like have a balance and try different things like the local cuisine. So,
yeah, that's really an
awesome. If you're traveling alone, then that's another challenge.
Yeah, it's really true.
An appetizer, and that way it's not gonna be like a big dish.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And when I travel with my one really good friend, we do like to order different plates and share. We did that a lot in Spain with the tapas. We did it a lot in Greece where we ordered two different things and then split it up. And I do feel like when I'm traveling with friends and we share things, I don't feel quite as bad because I can try a little bit of each thing, but I feel like I don't overdo it nearly as much. And it's fun. I enjoy sharing my food with friends.
Yeah, and you can split the bill too. So that's
Yes,
what
it's
it is.
cheaper. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. Oh gosh, I need that. It's cheaper because I'm thinking about what I spent on food this weekend in Jersey City, Rosa. Like my
Yeah,
credit card is on strike right now.
I
It's just
know.
like, what did you do? Like you went out to eat 3 times, girl.
Basically, I know Michael was like, "How was your trip to Jersey City?" I was like, "Well, we ate, drank, and we ate
We
some more."
ate.
I was like, "All we did was eat." It was a fun weekend, but it's not something that I do very very often anyway. So I was like, "Why not?" And like I said earlier before, I don't really drink as often, like maybe once or twice a month, if that. When I'm traveling, I'll have like a glass of wine here or there, or like a cocktail. So I do kind of like to let loose a little bit when I'm on vacation, but back home during the week, I very very rarely drink alcohol, but coffee, that's my guilty pleasure. And
Oh
coca.
gosh. Coffee. So with teaching, I drink 3 cups of coffee a day and I legit have caffeine addiction. I did a trip with Rosa to New Hope. Yep. Yep. I did a trip with Rosa to New Hope and I didn't have a chance to have my coffee and it was spring forward. So we lost an hour of sleep. And my students could tell they were just like, what is wrong with you? Like, you don't look well. You're just like not yourself. I just felt sick. I couldn't believe how addicted I was to
Yes,
caffeine. It was
the
insane.
headache and the crunchiness,
Yeah. Yeah.
real.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. I'm like on the fence about trying to cut it back a little bit. It's so hard because I get up so early.
It's hard for us.
Yeah, you need that caffeine boost. And I also know too, for people that have like dietary restrictions, like you said earlier, it could be maybe a little bit more challenging. So, do you have any tip for someone who's maybe like a vegetarian or maybe they're gluten free? Maybe there's some snacks or things that they can bring with them when they're traveling to kind of make it a little bit easier for them.
Yes, I think the key there is to plan ahead. Like maybe get to see the restaurants that you're visiting, like the menus, or for example in Madrid and many other places in Europe, you have these mercados, these markets, and they have so many different options, and those kind of places that can give you like to try new food maybe and be aware of your dietary restrictions. And now there's a lot more awareness about that. And people are more inclusive in the menu. So I think that's a good thing. But if it's something, like bad allergies and stuff, you have to be very careful. Like I would recommend to travel and always have in your purse like your medicine or like for allergies, or maybe if it's digestive thing, like have your digestive enzymes with you or lactose enzymes with you, because maybe you are lactose intolerant, but maybe you want to try this super artisanal cheese that they made in this huge farm in Germany. I don't know, and you can try a little and have your enzymes. So your supplements, so you don't get like too bad. But plan ahead and have your medication or your supplements like right there. And I must say, it's not a restriction, but a preference. And the restaurant, the place doesn't have, like menu friendly for your preference. Please be kind about it. It's not their fault. You can
That's a good
actually
point.
That's a
that
good point. Yes.
you can actually ask the owner, the chef, or whoever. Like, look, there's nothing in your menu that I can eat. Can I look around and bring it to the table with my friends and sit with my friends? They will probably be fine with that.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
suggestion.
Yeah, I definitely think as long as you're nice and polite, like that goes like such a long way. We always say it on this podcast, it definitely pays to be kind. And then something else I just remembered, I think the app is called the Happy Cow, and it's an app that shows you vegan restaurants around the world. So it's like a good way to kind of do your own research ahead of time if you have dietary restrictions. I think that's what it's called. I'll double check and put it in the show notes, but it's a good way, say, if you're in a country where maybe you don't know the language, you're not sure like the best place to go, having that app is a good way to find menus and food that like suits your diet.
Yeah, that's it.
And I agree with being kind and being nice. I feel like, especially in the States, United States, we're kind of accustomed to like customizing our meal, asking for a lot of crazy stuff. So sometimes when you do travel overseas, they kind of look at you and they're like, no, this, like, you cannot make any modifications. And
I
I've gotten
don't
to
even try it in France. I don't even try it in France. I'm like, I'm not looking to get hit.
And some places will
Don't
say,
appreciate
like, you know,
Yeah.
at all.
you won't modify the dish. It comes as it is. And I granted certain things, maybe they're a little bit more kinder with taking it off, or maybe like giving you like a different side or something like that. But I think like in the US also too, like we're so accustomed to like fast food, and even the food that's like quote unquote organic, it doesn't taste the same. Like when you travel overseas, like I remember we went to Croatia and Michael and I went to the restaurant. Everywhere that I went, I just wanted cucumbers and tomatoes. And that was it because it tasted delicious. So, like, with every meal that I got, I had cucumbers and tomatoes. And Michael's like, you barely eat cucumbers and tomatoes at home. And I'm like, they don't taste like this back home. Like, this is like amazing. Like, I just want to import all the cucumbers and tomatoes from Croatia back to New Jersey because it's not like this back home.
It's made with the Greek yogurt over in Greece. Like I love yogurt. I'll have it like multiple times a week. I just like love like plain
Very
Greek
good.
yogurt. Yeah, I love it. I'll add like a little peanut butter and a little bit of honey, mix it all together, and it's just like so good. But the Greek yogurt, I just wanted to like take it with me because I'm like, yeah, I get the Greek yogurt with no sugar or anything at Wegmans, but just it doesn't. I'm trying to like get used
So
to it
creamy.
again. Yeah, I miss it. I miss the good yogurt in Greece.
It's like
You
my
know,
mom.
I always love for like a quick dessert. It's the Greek yogurt with honey, and that's all
Yes.
you need.
And that's all you need. It's
Yes.
so true. When I went to Greece this past March, we went to this like organic farm, and like they make a lot of the things at the farm, and they made like this orange marmalade from like the oranges that they made in the farm. And same thing, they just put it over Greek yogurt. And normally back home, I'm not a fan of Greek yogurt, but there I was like devouring it. I was like, this is so freaking good. I had to check in the luggage just so I can bring back the orange marmalade. I was like, oh, I just miss anything international. And like, I remember, I don't think we mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, but Guillel and I were cousins. So if you see the resemblance, so
I do.
everything back,
I
everything back
do.
home is so much better. Like, you know, living like in Jarabacoa, you have like so many like fresh ingredients in Dominican Republic. And it's like that in a lot of countries outside of the US. Like everything just tastes so much better. Like it
I
really
know.
not as processed, not
Yeah, love, definitely.
exactly. Definitely they're made with love. So like I know like even my mom when she comes back from DR, she brings back cheese. The other day I was like, I'm kind of tempted to ask her to bring back some salami just because the salami here is just not the same.
It's so true. And it's hard, like coming back. Like, I know with Japan, coming back to New Jersey, the sushi in Japan, it was so fresh and just perfect. I come back to New Jersey and I feel pretty fortunate because we have like a big variety of food here. Like, I can get good quality sushi, but it still was not quite the same. And now it's the same with my Greek yogurt. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're broken now.
Exactly.
And
Traveling has spoiled us, but as you can tell, we love to eat, right? Especially when we're traveling overseas. So, what would you say are some ways for someone to kind of reset, right? Like, if they went on vacation, now they're back home, they got to get back on the grind, get back on the routine. So, what are some quick ways that they can reset and go back into like the right path when it comes to their nutrition and healthy lifestyle?
Well, you just said it. I think the key is to go back to your routine as soon as possible, because and if you don't have if you don't have the time to go to the supermarket and like buy the healthier stuff that you're supposed to and or you're accustomed to, just start with exercise and everything will follow. Everything will follow because it gives you structure, it gives you discipline, and it gives you like the will to get everything in order. So exercise right away.
Yeah, I think that structure that really spoke to me. Getting back to structure is so important because I even deal with this as a school teacher when I'm off for 2 months out of the year. It's like everything goes out the window because there's no structure. Like I'm traveling, I'm sleeping in, like everything's kind of like a mess. And I always notice I lose a lot of weight and feel a lot better when school starts because it's like, okay, you get up at this time. I'm cooking my own food. And when I cook my own food, I tend to do a lot better. And it's like I'm walking, I'm going to the soccer field, I'm getting that exercise in. And I do notice that having that structure in place and getting right back into it is like such a big help because when I don't have structure, I'm a mess. Like summer is fun, but I always gain weight. I always like don't feel as good. And just having that structure is so important.
Yeah. And remember,
Yes.
all the time, all the time.
Yes. I have my big water bottle over there. I go through so much water at school. We have filtered water right across the hall from my classroom. I'm always filling it up. And I always tell that to my soccer players, like to hydrate. Like today during the game, I was subbing them in. I kept saying, go hydrate, go hydrate. Because, you know, when you're running across the field, the last thing you want is to get dehydrated.
And your body knows it too. Like I know for myself, if I'm not drinking enough water, like my lips will start to feel like a little bit dry and I'm very prone to migraines. So if I'm not properly hydrated, those migraines are gonna come. So I always have
That's,
to make sure to drink a lot of water.
that's very important.
Yeah, and it's good for your skin too. I have very dry skin and I'll notice right away if I'm not hydrated. I could just tell like my skin just like looks kind of dull and not as nice because it's, you know, I have dry skin anyway. So I make sure like water, water, water.
And if you drink a lot of coffee, you need to hydrate like even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Coffee and alcohol, like they're delicious, but they do dehydrate you really badly.
So it's like, water in between. So stay hydrated. So what would you say would be one golden rule you would like every traveler to remember when it comes to nutrition? Aside from drinking water?
Yes, that one. A lot of people like don't drink water maybe when they're traveling because of they don't want to have the bottle and it's heavy or they don't want to carry the bottle the whole day. But I think it's worth. And also, eat a fresh fruit every single day that you're traveling because it will give you the minerals and vitamins and it helps you hydrate with the electrolytes from the fruit. So yeah, I think that will be my goal.
I think that
Yeah.
would be Michael's golden rule because I swear he always says he'll eat like a bag of potato chips and he eats like a child sometimes. And then he's like, yeah, but I had banana or I'm like, Michael, just because you have a banana doesn't mean like it offset the bag of potato chips you just ate, Like he's like, it's balanced.
Get him. He's maintaining some balance, but yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah. And one of my favorite fruits to eat are grapes. I bring red grapes with me every day to work, like a big Tupperware full of them because they're basically candy. I mean, I just tell myself like these are sweet,
True.
they're like candy. So it hits that chocolate craving. So whenever anyone asks me for nutrition advice, I'm like, oh, just grab some grapes because it's fruit, but it tastes like candy.
And strawberries or berries that
So
you have so many berries there and like they're easily available for you. And that they're great. Lots of antioxidants and so many nutrients and electrolytes. So that's great.
Yeah,
The
strawberries are usually my
blueberries,
go-to.
they're super good.
I love New Jersey blueberries when they're in season. They're like my favorite thing. I go through like boxes of them. They're so good.
So easy to eat them all.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
portion control. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's what
Everything
I
in
struggle with.
moderation.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna eat them.
Yeah, that's what I struggle with portion control, like especially like when I was going on my press trips, like and my press trips were in the US. So if you know anything about US restaurants, they tend to give you enough for like 5 people on one plate. So any advice for portion control when you're traveling? Because I always feel kind of bad wasting food. And I know there would be sometimes on press trips where they would give me all of this food. Like I can think of one instance where I went on a food tour and then we had like a market stop and then we had dinner afterwards. And that was another time where I actually got sick on the flight home and I had to miss my student's graduation because of it, because it was the next day and I felt really bad. And it was because like I just like ate so much. So is there any way to do that portion control without like that guilt? Because I have just like this guilt that I'm wasting food. And I know it's like a me thing, but
No, it's true. Like the teachers, especially over there, are here, and for some reason, we tend to order one plate, one dish for each person, and that's crazy. Maybe if there's available like half the dish that could like help you control and still enjoy the food. Well, you can always ask the remaining to take it home or whatever you're going and have it later. And yes, I hate wasting food. That kind of a friend.
Yeah, and I find the restaurants they're actually pretty good with. There was one press trip I was on, and I asked for half a portion, and they did accommodate it. They were like, we understand you're working with the tourism board, and that made a big difference just to like ask for a smaller portion.
Or just take
That's
it back
good.
to your hotel. Like I went to Houston and I wanted to try these ribs from this like it was called Chicano barbecue and it was like very highly recommended all over social media. And they gave me like a whole thing of like brisket and ribs and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like there's no way I can eat this all by myself." So I had a few bites and then the rest I took it back to the hotel with me and I was just like laying in bed eating my ribs watching TV. But I was like, "You know what? These are not going to go to waste." It wasn't cheap either and I was paying out of pocket. I was like, these ribs are going to get eaten even if it's eaten cold.
No matter what.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
way.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. There's nothing quite like just like eating leftovers in the hotel bed, like a nice way to unwind.
Yeah, I felt good. I was like, "You know what?" Michael's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, just here eating ribs, watching the Food Network."
Oh, great.
Yeah, exactly. A perfect Friday night in Texas, apparently.
It was tasty, I guess.
It was delicious. It was really, but then same thing like you said earlier in the episode, you're trying different foods. That same day, that morning, I went to this Mexican bakery and I had a concha for the first time, which is like a pastry and it was filled with like pumpkin. And I took a couple of bites. I was full. I went to do an activity. When I got back, I ended up getting tacos. Then I had the barbecue. The next day, when I tell you I was gonna wear like this like cute dress, I was like, yeah, there's no way. Like I was so bloated and I was just like, this is just not happening. I need an outfit change because the different cuisines and like the seasoning and everything, I also felt a little sluggish because I normally don't eat heavy foods like that, like on a regular basis. So I feel like I kind of overdid it too. So
Mhm.
portion control and a little bit more moderation. But
And
you
if
live and you
you
learn.
like that because like that was the schedule and stuff, enjoy it. But like the next meal that you will have, like be more mindful about that because it's not like all gone wrong. Just that day, okay, I could have made different decisions, but now I have the opportunity to make better ones. I think that's something that we have to focus.
Yeah,
That's a
for
good point.
sure. It's like, don't beat yourself up too much. Be like, okay, like I had this decadent meal, but maybe like for dinner, I'll do something a little bit lighter. That's always a good way to be to not just like write off the day completely. Cause I used to do that at home. If I had a cheat day and I just like messed up, I would be like, it doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. And then I would have even more and then I wouldn't feel good.
And also, you can like have a wall. Don't go to bed right away, and that will help you have a better digestion. So I think that could help.
I'm just curious. So, like, you're an amazing doctor, you have a family, and then you also find time to do CrossFit. Like, how? Like, where do you find the
It's
time? Because,
amazing.
like, my
First of all,
kid's in college, and I do not have the motivation nor time for anything.
okay. First of all, it's a habit that I got very late in life, like 28,
Mhm.
26, and I'm 39 now. So, it's not that long ago that I started. But also, you have to remember that here I am fortunate enough to have help at home, and that's why I can do it. It's very difficult, I imagine, for people and places that they cannot afford to have help. And the only way I can do that is because I have the help at home, and I work out at 6 a.m.
Oh, I'm
Mm.
sleeping.
Not every day is easy, but the aftertaste is so good that yeah, it's worth it. But yeah, it's sometimes I just don't go at all.
Yeah. And like you said, it's addicting because I know like I go into like my bursts where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna eat healthy. Especially I have like other like health issues, like issues with like my thyroid. I'd had like anemia. So I had other health issues that I'm like, all right, I need to get my life in track. So when I do start to feel a little bit off, that's when I start like this active routine. And like you said, it does become part of your day-to-day routine. And when you start seeing the results too, you're just like, all right, let me keep going.
And the result, the actual result that I love is that you feel better.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not just about
And
looking
you
good, it's about
pursue
feeling good.
that well-being. Not every day, okay? Not every day. You remind yourself that, look, I feel better when I eat right, when I hydrate more, when I get my exercise. And I think that's the greatest side effect.
Yeah, that's really true. And that's what all the gym teachers at my school say. They're just like, it's all about feeling better. And something that like we sometimes do, and I'll do it when soccer season's done. I luckily have a gym at school too. And during my lunch at work, one of the gym teachers, she's like a personal trainer, or I'll go down there and lift weights. And she's like, when you're lifting weights and like strength training, the goal isn't necessarily to see a number on the scale because your body composition will change a little bit. You'll have more muscle, but it's all about like feeling good and feeling stronger. And
Capable.
after like a workout, it's like really, really nice. So I'm excited to get back into it. She talked to me actually last week. She was like, so when soccer is over, am I going to be seeing you a couple days a week? I was like, yeah.
Hey,
It's like little baby steps. I was bad last week. I normally don't weigh myself either unless I'm going to like the doctor. I don't really believe too much like on the
Stop.
scale. But when my jeans are like not going past my thighs, I'm like, all right. It's time either for weight loss or new jeans.
so that's something very important that you said. I know it's like, like bittersweet to get on the scale, and not everybody has a good relationship with that. But I do think that you need to keep track, not daily, not necessary. You can keep track like every 2 weeks, because when you get to the point that your clothes are sticking, it's because you're 10 pounds a little late. Maybe you
Yeah.
could have like make some changes at 5 pounds or 7 pounds, and you can like. But it's very different for everybody, to have a good relationship. And I always say the scale is information. How you use it, that's up to you. But you need to work on yourself to have that data and use it in a healthy way.
Yeah,
That's a
really
valid
true.
point, like you said, especially like making those changes early on, as opposed to like waiting. Like I said, whenever I start feeling a little bit sluggish or like I feel like okay, I'm getting like really tired, maybe something's off. It's either like my diet is really bad, I'm not drinking enough water, or maybe I'm not being as active as I want to be. And then it gets to the point where now I start seeing like issues with my actual health. And then like you said, like it's never too late. You can make those adjustments to your lifestyle, but it is good to kind of catch on a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I think that will be with exercise. It, ideally, if you can have a checkup first, make sure that your heart is healthy enough. That will be so much better.
Yeah, that's really super important. And I like what you said earlier in the episode about getting a physical before going on a trip, especially if it's somewhere far and kind of remote. And if there's a lot of like activity involved, maybe it's like a multi-day like hike somewhere in a national park. You want to make sure that you're physically fit enough to do it, because you don't want to have an emergency and be airlifted anywhere if it's the middle of nowhere. That's kind of a terrifying thought.
And if there's something wrong with you, you can decide to maybe have if there's a treatment, then have it get it sooner. Or if there's nothing to do, like in a very extreme scenario, you can just go and enjoy the rest of your life.
Yeah, so true. That's when the credit cards are really gonna.
Exactly.
That's when the credit cards are really gonna get hit. If I
Exactly.
ever have an
Just, like, keep
appointment, I'm gonna like break this $60,000 credit limit on all three of these cards and max them out.
No, I'm not advising that, but still, lots of patients have this fear of having their blood tested and to know what's going on with them. They don't want to know, and I'm like, girl, it's information. You decide what you do with that.
Yeah.
Inform, like be informed.
That's very true.
And the relief is good too. And there's like nothing wrong. So my students, we had a blood drive. I think it was 2 years ago. And they were like, oh, donate blood, donate blood. Well, I can't say no to them. I'm like a big softie. But I was scared because you have to get your hemoglobin tested. And I had just switched to a more plant based diet at the time. So I'm like, oh, do I have enough iron? Because I know like you can tell a lot from hemoglobin. So I was so nervous getting like the blood taken. And then the nurse was like, oh, no, you're good. It's like perfect, right where it needs to be. And then I donated blood and it went to a local hospital and the hospital checked it for all these diseases. It was like, nope, we're taking the blood. It's good to go. And it made me feel good after the fact. I'm like, okay, well, that's good.
Great.
Like I'm healthy. Ready to max out that credit card. All right,
Every day.
All right, Guillel, are you ready for some fun rapid fire questions?
Bring them on.
You're on the hot seat.
All right. Let's do it.
Would you rather always have access to a great hotel gym or always have access to amazing, healthy local food?
Healthy local food. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like you can work out anywhere. Like you said, take like a walking tour. Give me all the good food.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
enough.
for sure. And healthy food can be just like so delicious and refreshing. I know there's this whole thing like chocolate's really good in desserts, but I have had some amazing meals at vegan restaurants. Like there's actually a local one here and it's healthy, just lots of fresh food. And I love it. I love it. It's so delicious.
Yeah, it's that you can digest them so much better. I mean, I love meat, but I do love vegetables and vegetarian food.
Yeah, same here. I just love it. So, would you rather walk 20,000 steps sightseeing in a new city or squeeze in a 30-minute structured workout at the hotel?
Always the sightseeing. Always.
Yes.
It's like, kill two birds with one stone. Like you said, you're not even going to realize you walked these many steps because you're too busy
Exactly.
enjoying the sights. So why not?
Yeah, and you get to know the city real well by doing that. Like I always maybe not on my first day because I'm jet lagged, but my second day, I love those walking tours because you're getting exercise and you're learning something new and you get to learn the neighborhoods and it's a really fun time.
Ooh,
I had a great walking tour in Chicago, like the interior design from all those old buildings, and it was amazing. And we were so much.
Those are always fun. I did one here in New York and it was like a walking tour. And it's funny because we actually walked for almost like 2.5 hours, but we were doing like local food spots.
I don't even notice.
No,
I
we
don't
didn't.
notice. Oh.
Yeah, by the time we were done, I was like, oh my gosh, that was like 2.5 hours. And we were walking around different neighborhoods of New York, trying different foods. Like we had like dumplings, we had pizza, we had so many cannolis. Like everything was like delicious and so much fun. So I love a good walking tour, especially if there's like a food component of it too. So like just sign me up. Unless like you're in Cusco, because that happened to me one time when we went to Peru and we went to Cusco and the altitude sickness got to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit on this bench, enjoy my mango and just come get me when you guys are done. Because I couldn't do it. I was like, no. I'm good here eating my mango. So, Guillel, here's a good one for you. Would you rather travel with unlimited water supply but no coffee? Or unlimited coffee, but limited water?
Okay, you're kidding. Okay, I tend to vibe with my morning coffee, but I drink a lot of water during the day. So I think I have to say water, even though I will be cranky the whole day.
With you, I would have to go with water too, because even though I know I will be a total Oscar the Grouch and probably be shaking by the end of every day because I have caffeine addiction, if I have no water, that's even worse. Like if I'm dehydrated, it's so uncomfortable. I know right away.
I can do without the coffee. My guilty pleasure is Coca-Cola. Although whenever I go to Europe, sometimes I don't do the Coca-Cola there, but normally in the States, that's like my guilty pleasure. And I'm just like,
yummy.
Just one. Why not?
Yummy. All right, this is another interesting one. Would you rather try a local superfood that you've never heard of or stick to a safe but boring salad?
No, I'm a risky person, so I will try the weird thing.
I will do it too. I will absolutely do it.
Just to say that I did, and that I was brave enough. Yes, just to brag.
I always do that. Like in Italy and Japan, I can think of multiple times where they're like, oh, like try this. And it's something I never heard of. But I just do it because I'm always just like YOLO. And I figure if I don't feel well later, at least I'll have a good story.
So what would you say would be like the most like strangest or most exotic thing you've tried while traveling?
Well, I don't think it's that strange, but it was for me. I was at Würzburg, Germany, when my friend's house for the first time, and she was making like breakfast for us with all these French out of the oven German bread. Oh, it was delicious, and these super fresh tomatoes, and she added raw mushrooms, and I haven't tried that, and that was the first time, and I was very skeptical at first because I was like, that's raw, and it was delicious, and it worked super fine with the sandwich and the bread and the cheese and everything that was so fresh. So I would say that, yeah.
Nice.
I love that. I love that. How about you, Rosa? Have you ever had a really like unique meal somewhere?
So I did a trip. It was my friend's birthday, and we went to New Orleans. So we were in Louisiana, and we went to this restaurant that were known for like exotic dishes. And I'm terrible because like if I know what it is, I probably won't try it. So I told my friend like just hand me whatever it is, and I'll have like one bite. And they had like these little balls, and it had alligator meat inside, and it
Ooh.
kind of tasted like a papa rellena. So like you know how like potatoes inside, but instead of like ground beef it had alligator meat. So I had that and it was delicious. But then one of the girls like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is alligators." I was like, "No,
Whoop.
just take the balls away from me."
Yeah, something similar happened to me on a food tour in Tokyo. The guide was like, Westerners tend to judge this, but if you want to have some of it, try it. And I'll like say yes to everything. I feel like I almost have like something to prove. I'm like, I'm going to be the cool American who just eats everything. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, I'll have it. So it was chicken fallopian tubes.
Ooh,
Wow.
that is exotic.
My family, they were just like, you ate what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it was fine. It didn't bother me. And they were like, huh, that's interesting.
And is that now part of like your typical cuisine?
I wouldn't even know where to get it from, to be honest.
Really? It's so tiny.
Gosh, that's so funny. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being on the show. So to wrap it up, do you have any final words of wisdom for travelers wanting to get out there and wanting to stay healthy?
Well, I think I covered it, but yes, get your checkups. Don't be afraid of knowing how your health is at that point, especially before you travel. Get a health insurance before you travel. That's a must. And keep hydrated and active, and you will enjoy it. I know I will.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Absolutely. We really appreciate it. And I feel like I've learned so much. I'm sure Rose has learned a lot too.
A lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to share this moment with my prima.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm listening to all the episodes, and I'm loving it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
my
you so much.
project.
Yeah, Rosa and I have been having the greatest time. She's the best co-host ever. Like, I
Thank
feel really
you.
lucky.
Thank you. And it's so funny. I have a crazy story. So the other day, I was actually thinking about you guys. I remember when I was like a teenager going to Dominican Republic and staying a couple of days with you guys at the house. Like Guillel mentioned, her mom's a doctor as well. And I remember she would make like the smoothie with like beets and carrots. And I remember
Yum.
telling my mom, like, please don't send me there. They make me drink the beet and the beets and
Beets.
carrots. But I had that the other day and it was so good. I forgot
love
how good
beets.
the combination of beets and carrots are. And I thought about you guys and I was like, brings me
No.
back to when I was like 12
Give
years
me
old.
the carrot like salty or raw, but not in smoke.
Mm. I love carrots. I made a smoothie one time. It was like carrots, oranges, turmeric. I think I had ginger in there. It was really, really good. I love smoothies. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Bon Voyage Besties. Huge thank you to Dr. Market for joining us all the way from the Dominican Republic and sharing so much wisdom on staying healthy and active while traveling. Her story as a physician, entrepreneur, wife, mom, and total CrossFit enthusiast is so inspiring, and we hope you're walking away with some practical tips to make your own own journeys healthier and more balanced. I know I will certainly stay hydrated on my upcoming flight to London in February and try to see if there's any healthy food at Newark Airport after this. As always, thank you for tuning in and spending time with us. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with your besties, and leave us a review. We love hearing from you. And if you have any tips that you use to stay healthy on the road, especially if you're a frequent traveler like us, share them with us. We would absolutely love to hear them. So until next time, besties, bon voyage. Bye.